Hi everyone, Diana Rankin here, and with little Piper back there. She's sleeping. We've got an interesting question this week that thank you for the person who sent this to me. And Sheila says, "Hello, Diana. I hope you're doing well. Greetings from Amsterdam in the Netherlands." Hi, Sheila. I hope we're doing fine here. In fact, we're having snow. It's not going to get too deep, but probably deep enough to keep me at home for a few days till the roads clear up and I don't have to put my car through the salt on the roads. Anyway, um, and Sheila says, "Hello, everyone." Wow, a lot's going on in our world, isn't it? Uh, but we have things to celebrate. It is Black History Month, so we are celebrating that here in the U.S. And the death of, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his name, but the death of the activist that, yes, was he murdered in Russia by Putin? Well, certainly not personally, but I'm sure Putin ordered it. There's no question in my mind and in a lot of people's mind. And it's kind of sad to have an American, Tucker Carlson, I think his name is said. Again, I'm not sure of his name. I think that's close enough. I don't want to know his name, really. But here he is in Russia praising Russian. And so, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about dimensions. Hello, Akila. How are you today? She says, "Hello, everyone." I've got to get this arrow out of the way. And I always look over here, as many of you know, because the big screen's over here. And I'm looking at the camera, which is the little screen in front of me. Johanna says, hello, Diana and everyone. Hello. So it's always exciting for me to see those of you who get to come live. And I know many of you can't, in part because of the time difference. And some of you are at work today. But for those of you who are coming live, thank you. I'm so grateful. And for those of you who watch us when we're not live, the video replays itself anytime you want, along with many of my videos on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for coming and viewing us. And I kind of feel like it's our community now. So thank you. So we will get a message also, as many of you know, from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. Phillip is my spirit guide who I try to write it out the week before, which means next week, excuse me, next week will be our predictions for March. And I do encourage everybody to listen to those. Okay. So, and if you listen to February, unfortunately, a lot of what Phillip says has happened. So, but he also tells us to stay in love if we can. And I think this week about the dimensions will be helpful. Anyway, this is just an oracle book. I get off. And so we will get our message here. I do get off the subject sometimes, don't I? All right, here we go. The question for this week is, are we simultaneously existing in multiple dimensions? Are we simultaneously existing in multiple dimensions? And again, thank you for the question. If you have questions, just put them in the comments below. That way I can pick them up and write them out, and you'll hear the answers. So here we go. Phillip answered. The question again is, are we simultaneously existing in multiple dimensions? And Phillip says, why, yes, of course. We all know that, right? Many are aware of this, but you must take caution when working in different dimensions. Imagine a character from the first dimension, which is just a dot, suddenly finding themselves in the third dimension, which is height, width, and depth. This would be quite disconcerting. The same is true when you move into higher dimensions without knowledge and preparation. This is not to say you should not or do not move into higher dimensions. It is to say to do so naturally and with knowledge and awareness. You have already mastered the first, second, and third dimensions, and many are keenly aware of simultaneously existence in higher dimensions, especially the fourth and the fifth. The fourth dimension is time. This is not the clock time as we think of time in the third dimension. We wish to add that in ancient times, these higher times were only accessed by initiates in the mystery schools. In the modern day world, the energy allows many to safely and easily move into higher energies while also being grounded in the third dimension. Humans may find it easier to access the fourth or fifth dimension than the first or second. I mean, we don't have any reason to go to first or second, really, but fourth and fifth, etc., we might. Phillip says to clarify, the first dimension has no depth, no width, or no up or down. Put a dot on a paper. Now imagine being in that dot. Very difficult for the third dimensional mind to grasp. It's just as difficult to grasp the second dimension, in which you can move forward and backward, but neither up nor down. In the third dimension, of course, you have height, depth, width. You can move forward, backward, up, down, in, out. You are aware of that which seems solid and that which is not. Now, let us explain fourth dimension time that we mentioned a few moments ago. We said it was not the same concept as time in the third dimension, where we see time moment by moment. In the fourth dimension, 1, 2, 3, 4, we see the entire timeline of this life from birth to death. Those who see into the fourth dimension see this entire life as though it's all taking place within this moment. In truth, it is, but you can see how unnerving that could be for somebody if not prepared. As you evolve spiritually, you will easily access these moments of awareness. As you open to the fifth dimension, you become aware of other lives you are engaged in parallel worlds, what you call past and future lives. As you become aware of these other higher dimensions, you come to understand that for every choice you've made, there is a parallel world that exists within the other you. The progression is endless, as are you. Do these words mean you will always live as you, the one you know as you? It does not. At this time, you are primarily aware of you as a third dimensional human on earth. Because you have asked, we wish you to know you are a great deal more. You are you. You are also a part of us. And by us, he means the spirit world. And you are part of all that was and all that will be. You are part of the all, eternal and vast. This is difficult for the human mind to conceive of, except in those rare moments when your heart swells with joy and you know you are more, and you are. Oh, my friends, I've got to tell you, the times that I have experienced the fourth or the fifth dimension or higher, it's happened very naturally. It's not something I've tried to do. It's something that I just moved into. Um, for example, I was sitting at my desk, not here, but in a different office, and I was working away. This goes back into the 90s. And at the time, um, I think I was still studying. Yes, I was. Thank you. I was studying with Gene Houston, who I think is one of the greatest minds of the century or maybe ever. Gene is, I think, brilliant. Anyway, I was studying with Gene, and I stopped for a moment and I just relaxed. I was writing, and I kind of sat back in my chair, turned my head slightly, and as I turned my head, I was aware of multiple lives that I had lived, and one in particular where I was in a place in Ireland. Um, and the clothing and everything told me the time period, which was a totally different time period than I live in today. Another time I was at my ex-husband's house and I was walking actually. Um, I had two Shelties at the time, not Piper, two others, rescues, and they were in the living room with Steve. And I was walking from the bathroom past the kitchen into the living room. And just in that, what, 30 seconds, if that, I had, I started to like feel like a slow motion movie. And I was looking at all the lives that Steve and I had shared together because my question I had asked, and I was thinking about it when I was in the restroom, I was thinking, I wonder if we fulfilled what we came here to do together because we were still friends, but we had ended our marriage. And I got the answer just walking that 30 seconds, seeing multiple lives that we had shared and feeling that it's all here right now. I don't have words to explain it. And I learned long ago, we really don't have words to explain a lot of things that happen. I will tell you, one of my books, The Found Child, I can't, well, let me reach it here real quick. One of my books, The Found Child, does talk about it. It's a work of fiction. Or is it? It says on the front, The Found Child. This is a work of fiction, or is it? It is available on Amazon. Both, I think there's an audio or ebook as well as the print book. I'm a print book person. But this does talk about experiences, not mine in particular, although it's based on some that I've had. But it is a trip with Philip and a little boy, a strange little boy, through the other world. And it does talk about why we take some people may take a long time to drive and some may not. Oh, Johanna says, love that book. Thank you. Thank you. I love to hear that. It's really, I don't know how to describe it other than to say it's a work of fiction. It's a little boy who comes to the main character. And guess what? That is my name. The main character, after she's had a motorcycle spill, which I know people don't think I ever rode a motorcycle. I did. I had a bad spill. And that kind of triggered a lot of the things that's in the books. But we do, in the book, the Philip comes with the little boy and they travel through spirit world. So it tells you what happens in our spirit. And we are so much more. As Philip says, you, excuse me, just a moment here. I want to say, excuse me, when I'm talking to a client and my voice does that, it's not about me, it's about the client. And I always tell the client, what is it that you feel you haven't said that you need to say? So, what I'm saying to all of you is this may be about me. What is it I haven't said? Because I still have a lot to say, but it's also about you. Is there something you're not speaking up about that you should? And I remind you of what Philip said to this. You are you. You are also a part of us. And you are a part of all that was and all that will be. You are part of the all, eternal and vast. This is difficult for the human mind to conceive of, except in those rare moments of when your heart swells with joy and you know you are more, and you are. I wish you could see yourselves as I see you. Love yourselves. That's where it starts. Okay. And thank you again, Johanna, for telling me that you love this book. It's an important book, I think, but so is this one. So there's our message. I'm hearing right. If you heard right, our intuition's in sync. If you heard left, that's a message you need to pay attention to. All right. On the right, it says, when you dwell in darkness, it is hard to see the light. That's page 235. When you dwell in darkness, it is hard to see the light. And that has less to do with the dimensions and our message today. I think it has a lot more to do with what's happening in our world today. We had another mass shooting here in the US And Phillip has told us on the February. If you haven't listened to the February predictions, please go ahead and listen to that, because Phillip does tell us, and in March he will repeat some of this, I think just a little bit differently. We are in a rough time right now. We are really in a time of danger, so be careful. Use your intuition. Stay safe. It's like the world is splitting. Johanna says, wish there was a sequel. I started to write one and got off track. And yes, because you want to know a sequel for this book. Yes, because you want to know what happens it ends, and you get the feeling that life gets even better for the main characters. And I want to say, yes, hopefully I'll find time to write a sequel. I'm trying to get Piper's story out there as well, but Johanna, or Johan, excuse me, I'm sorry, there's no A on the end. I did even start it. I did sort of plan it out, and that goes way back many years, and I've got to get back to it, don't I? All right. Thank you. You just encouraged me. I will do my best to get back to it, because I know how the story goes on, sitting on that front porch. Okay. If you heard left, you create enemies by believing enemies exist. You create enemies by believing enemies exist. And that's page 234. Don't create enemies. Don't let the danger get to you. Stay in love. And that's our big challenge, because we don't live there. We do have to experience the darkness so we can bring ourselves back to the light. And as we bring ourselves back to loving ourselves, we then love each other. So thank you. Thank you for the love that you receive from us. And thank you for loving yourself. And thank you for the love that you send to us. We are grateful. Okay, my friends. I'm sorry, I have a friend, Johanna. So Johan, it keeps coming out, and I apologize. Okay, she has challenged me. She has given me a homework assignment, and I won't promise immediately, but I will get busy on that sequel. Thank you. Got to do the taxes first here in the US, and I have not finished the information I have to send to the tax person. I better get busy on that first. Love you all. Next week are the predictions for March. Akila says, thank you so much. And Sheila says, thank you, Diana. Thank you. Thank you. And Johan says, thank you so much. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Got your questions? Put them in the comments below. We'll address them. Until we see you next week. Bye.